Well, here it is about 9:40 on Friday the 26th of September. Getting a little lax in my videos here, but anyway. So we'll carry on for my visit the 21st and the 22nd. Uh, so the 21st started off, as you know, really early in the morning because I had to go down for that test after I had my fall, my stupid fall. But anyway, and then I stopped for a little bit, and then we had uh, the usual routine. They come in and do all sorts of stuff, blood test and blood pressure and blood sugar level and check your pulse and all this, and then take your weight and that's a routine of things that they would do every day. Anyway, so breakfast came and went, and that was fine. And it was kind of weird because the whole day I had someone from the different departments coming in to visit me, talk to me about one thing or another. I don't really remember all of it, but anyway, uh, during that time, I also had my manager come in for a visit, which was nice. She brought me a little goodie bag, so that was nice. And I later in the afternoon, during the course of people coming and going, was my brother Mike came along and he brought me a little goodie bag as well, so I was double treated that day. So that was kind of nice, and it was an okay day. And it's when Mike was here, we had the psychiatrist pop in. I guess this was later in the afternoon, before supper anyway. And I guess I had been talking about delusional thoughts or not seeing things as they were, whatever. And she just wanted to check up and touch base with me, and it was actually quite informative uh, conversation that we had. I must say, most of my delusional, in fact, I think it was pretty well finished by that time. I was seeing things as they really were. But yeah, we had a good talk, and Mike and I both asked questions, and it was very informative on how it all works and why they obviously why they were concerned about it. But ran a couple of tests, which I pretty well aced, which surprised me, and I think it surprised my brother Mike as well. But one of them was saying days of the week backwards, starting from Saturday. No problem. And then she had me do months of the year, starting from December backwards to January. And I did it really good. I was surprised. I surprised myself. I thought for sure I'd screw up somewhere, but the only thing I may have had a little trouble on, she gave me three words. Uh, what was it? Coin, table, and red. And I was supposed to remember those, and we went on and changed the subject and talked about a bunch of other stuff, and then at the end of it she goes, "Oh, what were those three words?" And for the sake of me, I was just like, and and I somehow I blurted out coin, which was the first one, but my mind just totally drew a blank on the other two. And so she says, "Well," she gave me a hint. She says the third one, I'll give you a hint, was color. Well, a color. So first thing came to my mind was red, and that was right. And then she says the second one was either chair or table. And so I said table, and that was right. So I guess my brain was working a little better than I thought it was. But anyway, I think she said she's going to stop in a few days just to touch base with me again, and I think she did further down the road. But anyway, so yeah. Anyway, that's about it we had on Thursday. It's not too excitement there. And let's see, had a nurse on, well, Friday. I was doing some walking with the walker, and just it was a pretty routine day. Plumbing was working fine, really fine actually. And I think was either no, it must have been Friday. Yeah, well, it was on Friday. Before lunch, and the nurse was in. It was mid-morning, I guess, and she was testing something or looking at something. Anyway, and then we were talking about I'm talking about the pureed meals I was getting and how awful they were, and I wasn't eating half as good as I should. You know, I really wasn't. I couldn't stomach it really. I know I had a couple of videos ago. I said, "Oh, it was the best thing ever." Well, yeah, when you're hungry, but well, you know, I tried to eat as much as I could, but it it just wasn't appealing. It just had no oomph to it. Anyway, so she said she'd go down and talk to dietary and see if they would come up and you know she couldn't. Then she's commented saying, "Well, I don't even know why you're on pureed meals." And so she checked my chart and oh yes, because they thought I had a stroke, and so they were concerned about the swallowing, and that's why I was on the pureed meals. And so she said she talked to dietary, and I didn't think anything of it after she left. And next thing I know, someone from dietary was up, and she had a little thing of peaches and digestive cookies, and as long as you can chew and swallow these without problem, we'll switch over to a regular meal. And so we proceeded, and sure enough, I was fine. And so she said, okay, I will put the change in for you. And she says I can't do it for lunch because it's too close to lunchtime, but I will definitely make the change for supper, starting for supper. And I said, okay, I can stomach pureed meal one more day, one more meal, which I did. And then the meal came around at supper, and holy, was it good. I can't remember what it was, but holy, it was such a, it was almost restaurant quality. You know, I comment it was like eating at the Hilton, which it was compared to the pureed meals. All the food had good texture and good flavor, and it was prepared and it looked appetizing, and all the meals on continued right to the time I left on Tuesday were like that. So that was something kind of nice. I'm trying to think which day it was. Could have been the Friday. I had some monitoring cables or IV or something in my neck. It was like in the jugular, whatever. And they had to come out, and so they pulled them out, and then I had to lie down flat for 30 minutes and not move while this, you know, so I didn't, I guess for it to clot or whatever, it's, yeah, I guess clot. And I did, and everything was fine, so yeah. So that took me up to the end of Friday. Nothing else, not much else too exciting happened. Anyway, I guess that'll be enough for this video. It's a bit shorter, but that's fine. We'll talk again